Trying a new setup, which is recording with 4K 60 with the iPhone XS and audio here. Okay, so this over a little bit more. I can talk to you better. This video is going to be focused on the actual insurance process that I went through with the 2017 GS Adventure. I think I'm not trying to make lots of YouTube money with lots of videos, but there were so many different elements that I think some people are going to care about the gear. Some people will care about the modifications and what they did during the crash. Some people care about the crash itself, the emotional element of it, the aftermath, getting a new bike, and some people just want to know how the insurance process works. And this is my first time ever going through insurance claim, so I learned a lot. And you don't really know, you don't really understand your insurance until you actually need to use it. So I'm 32 years old, so since age 15 I've been paying into insurance, medical, health, life insurance, renter's insurance. Now I have a home, so homeowner's insurance, and I've had four vehicles and 3 motorcycles. So I've been paying maybe $50,000-$60,000 into insurance. I finally got to use it, and I'm not going to name insurance companies. I'm also not going to give you guys exact values. So much of it is personal, but I'm going to go through the process of making a claim, what I went through in order to get my settlement on my bike, and I think some tips for you all if you're going through this process, or you might go through this process of crashing your motorcycle. Keep in mind, in my claim, in my incident, I was not injured, so I required no medical attention. I didn't require a tow truck. I didn't require a rental car. Sorry, it's late. I also didn't require, well, I didn't cause any bodily harm to anyone else. There was no second party, meaning there was no other vehicle, pedestrian, bicyclist, motorcyclist that wasn't me, the named insured, in the incident. My dog is dreaming. And then also, there was no property damage. No one's property was damaged, and where they had a claim against me for payback, retribution, whatever you want to call it. So this was a pretty simple insurance claim. We've got a damaged bike, we've got some damaged safety gear, and then we've got a insured person who is the only party looking to get recouped for that money. That simplifies things a great deal. So your situation may be completely different. Okay, so let me take a swig here of bourbon. Clear my throat a little bit. So the day of the incident, September 7th at 1:30 p.m., I recorded on my Garmin InReach my exact location. I'm insured there was no damage to the guardrail, to the pavement, to anyone else. There were no other persons involved. I moved the bike off the road, got sand away from the road, cleaned all that up, inspected myself, kind of did a self-check, checked my gear, found out where I was standing as far as my gear goes, and then I started the bike. It ran. So we changed locations about 200 yards up the road, did another assessment. How's the bike doing? How did it feel? If it still feels good, then we changed another location, which is another 3 or 4 miles. Also, we're fine. So then we made the rest of the trip back to camp. The whole time I was with people, so if anything happened, I was with people that could, help me out, move the bike off the road if it stopped working or something, and then, that was an important part of it. As soon as I got back to the camp, I called the Vermont State Police, and even though it was a one-party incident, it's always good to call the police. You might have this issue where it shows up on your insurance in the future. You may have an issue if the bike isn't totaled out. There'll still be a Carfax incident report because you called the state police and gave them your VIN number. So now they're going to have this record of an accident that, if it's a broken shift lever and you fix it yourself and don't involve insurance, no one would have known about it except for you and your GoPro. And but it really is good to call the police, give them an exact location. So if someone does have any property damage, they know who to go after. And if you're insured, you should have nothing to worry about. It's just the right thing to do. called the state police. I left with them everything I had. I gave them the exact location, the time, exactly what happened. The officer replied to me that she knew exactly where that incident happened. She said once a month a motorcyclist will crash there, and during spring, summer, fall, of course. So it wasn't. It went fine. Hung up with them. I said, "Do I need to do anything else?" And they said, "No." I do also remember that the um, that Climb, if you use Climb gear, they have a 5-year protection kind of guarantee, and what that entails is if you crash your motorcycle and damage the gear, they will replace it for you after you fill out a form saying here's what happened. You upload photos, you send them back your gear for analysis and R&D, and they'll mail you out replacement gear in the same size of an equal or greater, current model, basically. But part of this is having a police report. So you need to have proof that an officer of the law, recognized this, gave you a case ID. This is part of that process. So I knew if I was going to get my very expensive suit replaced, I needed a police report for that. So I got a case ID from the officer, and I got her name and badge number, and then hung up with her. And then I went online and started the claim process with my insurance company. They're one of the top 3 insurance companies in the U.S. This is in a small local place. I actually switched them in July because my existing insurance company was $600 per year for the GS. With the same coverages, it was about $150 for the GS. I think I ended up spending about $250 total because in August I called up. This is very important. I called up and I added a $20,000 line item that covers accessories. By default, they cover $2,000 in accessories reimbursement. You must also have a receipt. I added that. Let me make sure we're still recording. I added to $20,000 to make sure that's covered. Within 24 hours, within 4 hours of me making the claim, I got a phone call from my insurance company saying, hey, are you okay? Do you have a police report for us? And really important, did an officer actually physically go to the scene, or do you just call it in? That's a designation that's important. Always be honest with your insurance company. Be as open and honest as possible. They do work for you. If you're negligent and you make mistakes, it's probably going to increase your rates, but chances are you're still going to get the money you're owed, so long as you weren't. Video of you with like no shirt, no seatbelt, saying I'm going to try to kill myself right now. That might be a little bit too much, but let's just be honest. So within 24 hours after I talked to the person, and this person, their only job was first to verify that the details I entered online were correct, as best of my knowledge. The next person I talked to verified my coverage amounts, and then that was it. I couldn't ask either of them any questions beyond those two. They hung up with me, and then 24 hours later, my adjuster called me, and he's the local representative out of New Hampshire that is here to handle my process through the repair or total loss situation. Once it's a total loss, it goes to a salvage team. We'll get to that later, though. So the person verifying my coverages, she went through, here's what you're covered for. Here's your deductible, which is $500. Your accessories is covered. And she paused. It put me on hold for like 10 minutes. She came back. She says, I've never seen accessories coverage for $20,000, but that's what you have. So you should be good there. I'm like, yeah, we'll see. Because I have a lot of shit on my bike. And then she said that the state only requires that they cover $500 reimbursement for helmet and $500 reimbursement for my safety gear. And they even asked me if I was wearing a helmet, and I responded with, we wouldn't be talking if I wasn't wearing a helmet, but okay, yes, I was. Now that we're in the claims process, we're in kind of a legal negotiation with the insurance company. We're kind of two parties on opposite ends where they owe me something, but they hold all the keys basically because I've already paid them. They have their money. They don't want to give me money back. So I said, if I wasn't wearing my gear, I probably would be in the hospital. So I really wish you guys would increase your coverage on the safety gear. And it was basically like, Thank you, Mr. Chandler, for your feedback. We value your service very much. Anything else I can do for you? They can't agree with me in any way because now we're in this legal negotiation process. So, and it's not a check for my gear. It is during the claims process, I'm asked to go to a reputable website, not eBay or Craigslist, and purchase replacement gear. So if my jacket was deemed a failure, go buy a new jacket. If the helmet was failed, go buy a new helmet. Up to $500, they'll reimburse me. So if you buy a $400 helmet, you're getting $400 back. Luckily, I have expensive taste, so I bought a $1,000 jacket and an $800 helmet. But I only got $1,000 total back, $500 for each item. So that's my maximum for that. And so then the next process was, this was on a Sunday. I spoke to them on Monday. I heard from my adjuster. By then, I had already, on Saturday, I'd already called Max BMW out of New Hampshire and had them scheduled to pick up my bike on Thursday. It's the earliest that they come. They pick up your bike for free within 100 miles of your house. So they drop in Thursday. Between Sunday, I crashed on Friday. Between Sunday and Thursday, I did nothing. I didn't think the bike was a total loss, and I thought I'm not going to remove any accessories from the bike because if they're just going to replace a couple of, like, the shifter and the brake lever and a hand guard and the muffler, there's no point in me spending a whole day off work to take off my shocks and all my, like, safety gear. But in retrospect, I should have. So if you think it's going to be a lot of money and you think your bike's going to be a total loss, it may be in your best interest to remove the easy stuff, the aftermarket seat, the aftermarket windscreen, aftermarket levers, any hand guards you have, any luggage you may have, things that were added after the dealership sold you the bike. This is, spend an hour stripping your bike. Don't spend 12 hours. Don't take your custom exhaust off, those kind of things. But do what you can to save the stuff that is in good shape. And we'll get to more on why later. So the bike was picked up Thursday. By, I don't know, the following Tuesday. So now BMW's had my bike for 5 days. It's now a full week and 3 days after I put the claim in. I get an estimate from BMW for the repairs. And the repairs came to $12,636. And on here we have an auxiliary LED light for $183, a shift lever for $157, a rear muffler for $1215, left rear foot for the pillion peg for $208, new rear wheel $1587, foot brake lever $223, the left fork rod $1206, handbrake lever $103, the final drive, which they call the right angle gearbox, $2341, and then a couple of accessories basically. So labor was 8 hours, so $12,636. I mentioned to the guy he missed a few things, so he made me an addended one, and this came out to $13,951, and he just made a few changes basically because he did miss some things. Most importantly, the crash bars weren't indicated there. So I called him and I said, what about the frame damage on the right foot? And he says, oh wow, I didn't even notice that. And I'm not shitting on the service advisor, I'm just giving you my situation. It turns out if you look at the parts fiche for the BMW motorcycle, the foot pegs bolt on to what is the frame. It's not a piece that bolts into the frame. It is the frame. So when my bike touched the guardrail, it bent the right foot peg into the frame. When I bent it back, that's it. That was. I didn't break it, but by it bending into the frame, that was totally the bike out. That was it. No matter what is in this sheet here, that was it. The price of a frame is $4,200. It's only about 15-20 hours of labor, but BMW won't sell you a frame. They just won't do it. It is they don't stock them in the U.S. You can't order them. The bike is totaled. That's all there is to it. So even though I had sent this list to BMW, to my insurance adjuster, when he found out the frame was bent, that was it. So while this was going on, BMW, the dealership, was charging my insurance company a storage fee. Again, these are things that I wasn't aware of. My insurance company covered 2 weeks of storage. So we're already 1 week in. We go back and forth a little bit with this whole parts list thing. A week goes by, and I get a call on a Wednesday. So this is the following Wednesday after I get this quote here. Basically confirming the bike is a total loss. They don't yet have my value, but he's pretty sure it's a total loss, given that the frame is damaged, basically, without knowing the actual value that my insurance company thinks it's worth. And by the way, you have 2 more days of storage. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, we only cover 2 weeks of storage, so that's $820 that my insurance company paid BMW to store my bike there for 2 weeks. You can do the math for 14 days if you want to. So I had 2 days to get the bike out of BMW. Now, it turns out when I mentioned all these accessories on the bike, can I take them off? He's like, yeah, but you have 2 choices. You can pay BMW to do it. We're not gonna reimburse you for that. And you're more than welcome to go get a trailer and pick your bike up and take it home. And as much time as you need, reasonably, like 2 weeks, you can strip the bike of your accessories if you'd like to. Just let me know what you're taking off so I can adjust what I send to the third party that values your bike. So, I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to take stuff off the bike. I said I have enough accessories coverage to cover I have $20,000 accessories coverage. He said that's fine, but it will be a depreciated value. So I sent him an Excel spreadsheet. Please don't laugh at me. That included $14,764 of accessories that I've added to the bike after purchase, things that were all on the bike when it crashed. I also included the $2,005 in safety riding gear that I was wearing. He wanted the full amounts for his records, even though I was capped at $1,000 for everything. And I sent this to him. I sent him also 60 or so PDFs of receipts. And let me make sure we're still recording. And my Jester called me and said, wow, this is the most detailed accessories list I've ever received. So he was really impressed by that. And I said, well, I'm a project manager. I keep documentation for everything. And so he said, okay, I'm going to send this to the third party. This was Wednesday. Thursday, he called me back, and I was actually on my way to BMW to say goodbye to the bike, take some pictures with it, and talk to the sales manager there about buying a new bike. My 2017 was a demo model. It had 500 miles on it, 550. And I got it for about $2,500 or $3,000 under MSRP, plus the 2018s were coming out, so the 2017 was obviously a leftover model. This year I said to Jim, hey, I want a 2018, because 2019s are coming, a 2018 demo with any color that you'll give me, as long as it's the top spec version, premium with all the features. So he found me one for $20,300 GSA. He initially thought it was 600 miles, and then he agreed to do the 600-mile break-in service, which is $350. It turned out it only had 350 miles on it, so he still did the service, which was nice of him. Gave it a whole look over, and then of course they delivered it to me for free a week later. So this is Thursday the 27th. I go down, talk to Jim, sign a bunch of paperwork for the new bike, say goodbye to my old bike, and then I schedule delivery for my new bike to come 1 week later, up to the 27th. So now we're looking at the 4th, Thursday the 4th of October. While I'm at BMW, I got a call from my insurance Jester. He says, okay, good news. Your bike is worth $19,500, roughly. Now, I owe less than that with my credit union. At the time, I didn't think I had gap insurance. I was also very happy about this. And for you guys that are wondering, the bike had 13,700 miles on it, which caused a depreciated value of $500 less. So it was worth $20, but they took $500 off because of the one second. Sorry, the porter there. They put $500 off because of the mileage, the odometer. So that's good to know. That's what it's worth. As far as that's not a crazy mileage hit, in my opinion. And they said, okay, and your accessories, which remember I gave them a bill for like $14,000, are worth $2,000. And I said, I'm sorry, I can't accept that. That's insane. I said, there's no way. There's no way that's the stuff that I bought in March of this year, that is in September worth, what was the math? Like I think it was like 13% of what I paid. I can get 50% what I paid if I sell it used on eBay, at least. So we went back and forth, and I said, I gave him a full, and I'm never a dick to people. We're all just doing our job. I've been a dick to people, but I'm just doing my job. It happens. We've all had to be that asshole. So I said, here's how I feel. I think this is severely undercutted. That was Thursday. I sent it over email, and I didn't hear back. So I proceeded with buying the bike. Saturday, I got a call from the dealer that my new bike was getting the oil changed, and they'd have it on the truck on Thursday for me. I had already given them the insurance binder. I added the new bike to my insurance policy, and I still heard nothing from my guy. And on Tuesday, he finally calls me and says, the third-party people made a mistake. I'm like, okay, well, how bad of a mistake do they make? He said, your bike's value of $19,500 is unchanged, but your accessories value is now much higher. So as you remember, I put $14,000 into the bike in March. They were saying that it's worth about $10,500 roughly. I don't know if, like, emotionally, like if I just was so beat up before, I was willing to accept any higher figure, but that certainly felt more appropriate to me. It equals, about a 15 to 20-ish% loss in value of $14,000 worth of accessories over the course of 7 months and 13,000 miles of riding, or 14,000 miles of riding. They also didn't cover powder coating. I put the tires on there. I put iPhone mount on there. So he said, you can grab like the iPhone mount, the RAM ball mounts, those kind of things. We're not covering the powder coating or any special paints or the tires. So that's what really brought it down to like 12. And then from there, so it's really only like a 10% loss in value. So I accepted. The next day, I put my insurance company in touch with my credit union, who got the payoff information into my company. On Friday, I got an email from my insurance company saying we've spent $800, of your money, but not really, towards BMW for storage. We've also cut a check for the amount of your loan payoff. Here's how much we owe you remaining. Of course, this is minus $500 for the deductible. And also, in addition, you have hit your maximum for helmet and safety gear. So we owe you an additional $1,000. Now, nothing's stopping me from returning the helmet and jacket I bought, but I need them, so I'm not going to do that. But you could do that. You could go and buy the most expensive thing you can find and then get reimbursed for it. I've spoken to a few other insurance companies in the middle here, especially after I heard that $2,000 accessory figure. And I was cross shopping around, and my previous insurance company, they asked for the receipt for the riding gear. So if your helmet was $700 and your climb jacket was $1,700, they will give you that full amount back. They're not going to haggle with you on depreciation. They won't cap you. So State Farm is probably one that I may go back to at some point, just for that reason alone. But they do also depreciate the accessories value, just like this company did. So that's pretty standardized. So, it's not whole again, but in many ways, my last bike was over-modified. So if I take a more simplistic approach to the bike, the payout amount is not what I spent on the bike this year, but it is going to get me whole again on my old loan. It's also going to get me the money that I need to modify the new bike in a more tasteful way, a more basic way. So spending more like $10,000 instead of $14,000. It's still excessive. Please don't leave your hateful comments, but I've learned my lesson on over modifying. Kind of. one other, so this was all agreed on last Thursday, the 4th. I didn't hear anything from my insurance company until Wednesday the 10th of October. So we're now a full month after the incident, and they finally have generated the check they owe me. I had to today print off a power of attorney form for them taking ownership of my title once it's released from my credit union, and had that notarized. And on Friday I meet with the insurance company to, well, you're going to see this after I meet with them, to get my check, and to give them that notarized power of attorney form. A couple other details. So, regarding the cancellation of my old policy, once the claim process had started, they told me to cancel my insurance as of the day after the crash because it wasn't being written anymore. So that was one thing that they may tell you to do, and I was retroactively refunded for that portion. Also with Climb, Climb replaced my Badlands pants with a brand new pair of Badlands Pro pants. So I had a 2017 model that got scraped up. They replaced it with the 2018 model. My Climb Adventure jacket that I paid $400 for in July, that was a 2011 model that a guy had never used. He won it in a raffle. He was a size large. He never used it. I got a smoking deal on that, but because it was manufactured more than 2 years ago, before Climb's program started, they wouldn't honor the warranty. So I guess just so you know, if you buy something from Climb today, you are under that 5-year Climb protection guarantee. I had a great back and forth with my person there. She shipped my replacement pants out the day that I shipped my broken pants to her. So we each got them on the same day, which was nice. And so I guess I lost $1,000 on the safety gear, if you include boots and gloves as well. But so that's really the only issue I had was the safety gear. Everything else was made good again. So now I have a new bike with some money left over from the settlement to pay down that loan a bit, and money left over to modify it. So pretty good. Oh, and about the storage fees, so if I had not picked up the bike or allowed my insurance company to take the bike to a salvage yard, I would have to start paying that $40 or so per day to BMW out of my pocket. They would not keep paying the storage fee beyond 2 weeks. So just some of you guys are aware of that. And then the final bid, because we are going over here. While I was at my credit union today going over, well, she's my notary, so she was notarizing my stuff today. She actually found out I did have gap insurance. And while they don't prorate, some gap coverages will get prorated. So if you sell or total your bike 25 months into a 50-month term, they will give you half of that $400 I paid back in a form of a check. It's unused. They don't do that with the gap coverage I did. 1 second. Porter, lay down. He has to go to the bathroom. Almost done. But what they do is if you finance a new vehicle within 4 months with them, they will take $2,500 off the back end, off the principal of your loan after your loan closes. So you agree to $400 a month for 60 months at 3.5 points. You're financing that. You're paying the $400 a month, but your loan that you financed for $19,000 after you close is now going to show $16,500 remaining balance. So at month like 50 out of the 55-month term, you'll be paid off. So it's basically it's not saving you $2,500 up front, but you do try to save that in the end if you pay off your full loan or sell it. That's what you owe. That's your payoff amount is $2,500 less. So I'm going to use that for sure. So even though I financed through BMW, I financed with them with the first 3 months paid for by BMW. Once those 3 months are up, I'm going to have my credit union buy the bike or finance it, and then they're going to apply the $2,500 off. So basically, I'm not going to have payments on my new bike for like 5 months, which is crazy, but that's how the system works. Lessons learned. Call your insurance company and verify everything that I mentioned. Verify the storage rates. Verify the towing distances. How far will they tow your bike? Like mine was only 100 miles, but the State Farm would do to the nearest dealership of my choice, so it could be 250 miles. Find out what your roadside assistance entails. How much do you actually pay for the fuel they bring you? What is the accessories coverage? If you're spending $2,000 on LED lights for your fancy BMW, you should know that they're covered or not. How do they calculate the value of your bike? How do they depreciate it with the odometer values? How do they depreciate the accessories? What do they cover for riding gear? On average, how quickly does a claim get handled? Do they only use OEM parts with motorcycles? So if you break a windscreen, are they going to try to find some aftermarket windscreen to save a few bucks? These kind of things are pretty important. So, everyone's just doing their job. Be patient. I had a really good experience because I was respectful and understanding with my adjuster and my claims team. It was annoying at times, but everyone's just going the way they have to do it. That's the industry. So I really can't complain at how this all ended. I'm pretty happy with how it all ended. So we're at 30 minutes now. I've spent too much of your time, but I do think there's a value in this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions in the comments below, please ask them. This won't apply to everyone. If you don't wear gear, it doesn't matter. If you don't have a $20,000 bike financed for 50 months, it won't matter. If you don't have gap insurance, if you have shitty coverage, if you kill someone, all these things are going to be variables for you guys. But in my situation, this is what happened. And I think someone out there is going to watch this and get a little bit of, reassurance or questions answered, those kind of things. But please call your insurance company, verify what they're covering you for, because you really don't want to get into my situation and find out you don't have what you need to get back on your bike, out of the hospital, back to work. If you're sitting in arbitration across from a mom and dad who have a dead kid because your bike flew off the sidewalk and killed them, you need to know what your insurance company is going to do to keep you from having to file bankruptcy. These are important things. And finally, the cheapest insurance it's usually cheap for a reason. I don't think the $500 a year would have got me 3.5 times the coverage from my insurance company before, but they would have covered all my safety gear, and that would have paid for the premium for sure. Something to think about. Okay, guys, thanks for watching, and be safe. Call your insurance company.